One of the things that people can find a little bit intimidating when they first start out with Twitter is the language of Twitter. There's certainly a different lingo that happens on Twitter that maybe people aren't necessarily familiar with. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to go through some of the Twitter lingo to hopefully get you a bit more familiar with what actually is going on when you look at Twitter. We're going to talk about following and followers. We're going to talk about the difference between replies and mentions. We're going to look at retweets, hashtags, and a little bit on link shorteners. When you get to your Twitter page, you see a few different things here. First of all, this is where the main business of Twitter happens, right here on the right-hand side. This is where all of the posts of all of the people that you follow will show up. So as people post things to Twitter, you'll see them coming up in this stream if you're following those people. If somebody's following your posts, then what they're going to see is all of the posts that you post, and those will show up inside of their stream. So that's where all of the business happens on your end. So you can see how it can get kind of interesting. Now, one of the really powerful things about Twitter is not just the ability to post and broadcast your message, but to actually interact with people. And that's where Twitter gets really, really interesting. So if somebody wants to have a conversation with somebody else on Twitter, what they'll do is they'll reply. So whenever you hover over somebody's post, or tweet as they call it on Twitter, then you'll see that you get the option to reply. And if you reply, basically what it does is it calls up the usernames of the people who are mentioned in that tweet, and you can then type in your reply, hit tweet, and then what will happen is that will show up inside of their Connect window. So if you go to Connect here, and you go to Mentions, what you'll see is anytime somebody has replied to me, you'll see my username first, and then whatever they are saying back to me. So that's how that two-way interaction can start. And that, like I said, is the most powerful part of Twitter. The other thing that can happen with Twitter is instead of replying, sometimes people will mention other Twitter users. So I'll see if I can find an example here. Here we go. So here's a tweet where somebody's mentioned quite a few different user accounts. So you see here, there's 3 usernames that have been mentioned here. So whenever somebody mentions another user on Twitter, that also is something that you'll see or you'll be notified of. So if I click on this person's username, what I can do is I can see who they are, what they're all about, a few of their recent tweets, and if I'm interested in them, then I can follow them. So this is certainly a way that you can start to get to know people is by looking at who's being mentioned, who's being talked about, and then following those people. So that's how that interaction works, and that's how that conversation of Twitter gets going. The other thing that you'll see fairly often is you're going to see these little links with the number sign in front of them. That's called a hashtag. Hashtags are a way of categorizing information on Twitter. And so anytime you see a post that has a hashtag in it, if you click on it, what it does is it basically searches on that term. Now this is the hashtag for South by Southwest, which is a conference that's happening in Austin, Texas. And so anytime anybody posts about South by Southwest, they're using this SXSW hashtag. And so if I click on it, I will see all of the people that are having a conversation about South by Southwest. So that is kind of a neat way to see everything that's going on Twitter around a particular topic. Note that with hashtags, you don't have to be following the people in order to see their posts in this case, because I'm just doing a search on this term and I'm seeing everything. Again, it's a great way to find people to follow on Twitter. Another hashtag you might be interested in if you're into education is called the EdChat hashtag. If you type in #EdChat into the search window, then you're going to see a whole bunch of posts that have to do with education and technology, and it's a very, very interesting tag to follow. The other thing that you might see on Twitter sometimes that you don't always understand right away is this where it says RT. RT stands for retweet, and it's basically a Twitter etiquette kind of thing. So one of the other powerful things about Twitter is that the ability to share information. And so, for example, if Learning for You has posted this assessment rubrics guide, and this is a link, so if I clicked on the link I could go take a look at the article. It's taking a minute to come up here. So I could read this article, I could have a look at everything that's going on that page. But what this person has done is the original poster was this user here, Goodman Nat, and so Learning for You would have seen this post and thought, oh, I would like to share this with the people that follow me as well. So she reposted it to her Twitter feed, but she's given credit for the person that originally posted it, and she does this by putting RT in front of it, or retweet. Now, Twitter makes this really easy for you to do because they actually have an automatic retweet button. So whenever you see something that you would like to share with your community, you can just click on retweet, and then when you click retweet here, it automatically will retweet that link to your followers, giving the original credit back to the person that originally posted. So that's kind of a neat way of sharing information, and certainly finding all kinds of new stuff on Twitter. So the one last thing that you might want to look at on Twitter that you'll see sometimes is you'll see that all of the links sort of look different than a regular URL. And the reason for that is because Twitter is only 140 characters. And so with that, you want to make sure that the links that you're posting aren't so long that it extends the length, or the minimum required length, or maximum required length rather, of a tweet. So Twitter and many other services, what they'll do when you post a tweet is they'll automatically shorten that link. So it is definitely a valid link. And when you click on it, you can go and you can see various different articles and things like that. But don't be too afraid of seeing these kinds of links in your Twitter stream, because they are regular links. They just have been shortened in order to fit into the span of a tweet. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of some of the things that are going on Twitter, maybe helps you to understand a little bit more what the lingo or the language of Twitter is. And but I always recommend give it a try. And after a while you'll get used to it, and you'll have all kinds of interesting stuff going on.